those of you who do have any questions, the 10 outside and certain things that's going on today is because the landlord's having a dedication service later this afternoon at 4 p.m. So that's what you're seeing, which doesn't affect us. Oh, thank you. So we're all good. I hope that I answered any questions that anyone may have had. So today what I'm going to do is actually do a rerun. I haven't done this to my knowledge of a sermon I did when we were over at Force of Life that I didn't get to finish. So it's going to be on the power of prayer. I'm going to develop it more today for a popular request. But the power of prayer, we talk about think about the power of prayer. We have to maintain an awareness. I'm not going to deal with the rudiment of what prayer actually is and does. Prayer is, in its simple form, is just communication with God. It's just talking and listening. We talk to God and we listen to what He said. But there's power in that, because God, a lot of times when I look at things, I try to get analogies or situations that will make it plain to me and hopefully plain to everyone else. It is our position as believers in the kingdom. Being under God's domain means God is responsible for our well-being. We need to understand that that is a fact, that is a truth. So God being the Father and the provider, because we talk about that a lot in Sunday school, God is the provision for every situation. So if God is provision for every situation, then how do I get provisions for my situation? Well, I have to ask the provider. Really, that's simple. That's what prayer is making the provider aware of what we need or want. And one analogy I was thinking about is like being a believer. Well, just use the analogy of say being hungry. And I know some of us are going to do this after service. And we go in a restaurant. Now we need food. I'm hungry. I need food. I'm going to a restaurant. Walk in the restaurant and sit down. Yet I refuse to ever place an order. Everybody around me is talking to other people, making their requests known, and people are bringing them food. But because I didn't make my desires aware, make anybody aware of it, I have no provision. The food is there, everything is there that I need. There's nothing that's hindering me from getting what I want except for me articulating or making the provider aware of what I want. That's what prayer is like, brothers and sisters, in our life. Now, don't want to generalize this and say, okay, whatever you want, just ask God, He's going to give it to you. No, it doesn't work like that. What God wants us and desires for us to do is become aware of Him. And that's why we have a corporate setting, so we can get to know the things of God, get to know the mind of God. So that's just theology, knowing who God is, what He does, what He desires for us. And by knowing that, now we know the parameters for which we need to be talking to God and what we need to be making Him aware that we need. But sometimes as believers, we can be asked for things that we don't need to ask God for. Well, I'm going to pray for God for food. God, well, He already knows I need food. I need to provide that for you. I need clothes. I know you need certain things. But in situations, we're going to look at them today. There are situations that God is extraneous in what we need and things that we can desire, or certain situations where we're in, where we're not going to try to accomplish this through any fleshly means. Which means I'm yielding this situation to God.
All right.
You think about it, if it was like this, if we had to pray to God or ask God for every little nitty thing we need, that would be exhausting to us and God. Okay, God, I want you to wake me up in the morning. Okay, after you wake me up, I want you to get me out of bed. I want you to give me the strength to get dressed. I want you to give me the strength to brush my teeth. I want you to give me the strength to cook my food. Okay, give me the strength to eat the food. You see how ridiculous that gets? Okay, God, now you safely take me to work. You're going to do that anyway. But that situation where we get in, where we need to know that for this situation, this is power that I need that's beyond what I'm normally doing, because it's out of the routine. Now, prayer is about all things. You know, praying through God automatically gets us in a relationship where we can get there. Because we talked last time, and I know I'm going to do that. You get that for me. So I'll stay at the camera. We talked last time about something like Matthew 6, 30 as well, but 6:33, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and all these things should be provided to us. See, once we maintain that positional relationship, we have an entitlement. God has an obligation to provide the things that we need. But as believers, He wants to be glorified through our lives. So God said, okay, in this situation, I got a special situation. I got something that's beyond what you normally need to do. I want you to do something to bring honor and glory to me. So you need to talk to me to get instructions about how to do this. Okay. And we started, for the scripture, about to go on and on. We looked at Joshua chapter 10. Because when you look at some of the things that God did, it's really incredible. Well, everything He does is incredible. But some of it even goes beyond that. In Joshua chapter 10, we're going to start with that. Because I subtitled the day the earth stood still. Joshua was in a situation where he had to do something. And he really made a request for God that really, in the natural, doesn't make any sense. But we're going to read it and see. And I'm probably going to butcher some of these names here. But that's okay. Joshua chapter 10. Hopefully everybody got time to get there. We're going to look at verses 1 through 15. So now came to pass when Adonizedek, the king of Jerusalem, heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it as he had done it to Jericho and its kings, so had he done to Ai and its kings. Now the inhabitants of Gibeon made peace with Israel and were among them. And I talked last time, in case you try to summarize it, because of the power that the people, now this is Joshua capturing the promised land. And what had happened, the people in Gibeon had heard about how God had destroyed through Joshua, Jericho and Ai, and now they formulated, if you look back at chapter 9 and to read it all, they went through a strenuous process to the point, okay, we're going to create the impression that we from far off, somewhere else we heard about you. So they got old sandals, they got old moldy bread to create the illusion that they had traveled a long time. And when the petition submitted themselves to Joshua, said, we'll just be your servants. Just don't attack us. Let us make peace with you. And it says one key thing that Joshua and the Israelites didn't consult God about the decision. They accepted the decision, but then they found out later that these people weren't from far off. They were from right down the street. Because the people that Gibeon said, well, we're next in line. So instead of us getting, and it was wisdom on their part, instead of us getting destroyed, we're going to go make peace with this mighty force. But that's a sidebar there. And they greatly feared because Gibeon was a great city, like the royal cities, like one of the royal cities, because it was greater than Ai and all his men were mighty. Now this wasn't just some little ordinary city. The other kings are fearful because now he's a mighty city, not even attempting to fight against Joshua God. So now the other kings are getting afraid. So therefore, verse 3, Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent to Hoham, the king of Hebron, Piram, the king of Jarmuth, and Japhah, the king of Lachish, and Debri, the bird, the king of Eglon, saying, come up to me, help me, that we may attack Gibeon, for it is made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. So now these other kings are thinking, okay, the people in Gibeon have made peace with Joshua. So if they're not going to attack them, if you look at the map, we're next in line. So what we're going to do, we're going to attack Gibeon. It's so funny, they didn't attack Joshua, they attacked Gibeon, the city which Joshua made peace with. In a way, you may think that's smart, because, okay, we saw what he did to other cities, so we're not going to attack the children of Israel, we're going to attack the friends of the children of Israel. My God. Moving to verse 5 here. Therefore, the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon gathered together and went up, they and all their armies, and camped before Gibeon and made war against them. And the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp of Gilgal, saying, do not forsake your servants. Come up to us quickly, save us, help us, for all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. So here come these people that actually tricked Joshua. But see, Joshua and the people of Israel had so much integrity that even though they had been tricked into giving their word, they honored their word. And that would be a lesson to a lot of us believers today. So you might have tricked us, but we given our word. Matter of fact, Joshua would tell people, because people are upset. He said, well, they tricked us, let's give them. Joshua, no, we have given them our word. Even though they tricked us, our word must stand. And because really, Joshua look at that as we're representing God. So what we say is like God said it. So we can't go against what God said because we speak on God's behalf.
Amen.
And see, that could be a lesson. That's another little subpart. Sometimes believers think people do us wrong, that we'll return wrong for wrong. You tricked me, you stole from me, well, wait a minute now. Our God don't do that. That's not the way God operates. So the people that tricked Joshua made peace with him now. He's gathered the men of valor and he's going. And he said, and the Lord said to Joshua, verse 8, do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your hand. Not a man of them shall stand before you. And this is God initiating the conversation with Joshua, because he's given Joshua a mandate. See, that's one thing as believers you got to know, our position with God and what he's done. He will remind us of it. Because of what I initially told you to do, these people that are trying to stand in the way, said, don't you worry about them, for I'm delivering them to you. He said, not one man, not a man shall stand before you. And Joshua therefore came upon them suddenly, having marched all night from Gilgal. So the Lord routed them before Israel, killing them with great slaughter at Gibeon, chased them along the road that goes to Beth Horon, and struck them down as far as Achaia and Maccadia. And it happened as they fled before Israel. Now the armies routed them. Now the people are running away. The five kings were in descent from Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down large hailstones from heaven on them as far as Zahab. And they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than the children of Israel had killed with the sword. Now, okay, the children attacked them, killed some. Now, God is taking care of the rest. He's being true to his word. He said, I'm going to do this. Now, God is doing what he said he was going to do. Verse 12 says, then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said, in the sight of Israel. Now, here comes the prayer. That in the natural doesn't make sense. So understand what Joshua had been told. God had told him nobody will be able to stand before you. And before that, he's already telling him this land is, you're here to conquer this land. Now Joshua was in the heat of battle. He's attacking the enemies in retreat. He's in the heat of battle. And I'm sure the words of the Lord has to be ringing to him. Sometimes we have to understand it. I think sometimes as believers we can be subject to prayer amiss because we don't remember the words of the Lord that he's told us.
Come on.
Sometimes we go to church and just leave it at church. We don't take the words out into the world with us, and that's where Satan got us. If you want to diffuse them, use God's words against his situations. Now, this is what Joshua said. Even though God gave him all these reassurances of what he's going to do. Joshua's in verse 12. He's speaking before the sight of Israel. He says, now listen to what you may have different. I got New King James. It says, son. He's not talking to God. Because see, God done already spoken. So I don't need to ask God again about doing something. Because he already told me what he's going to do. So now I'm going to start talking to circumstances that don't line up with what God just told me. So he commands the son. He says, son, stand still or give me. Now just imagine that. Can you imagine having the audacity to walk out and tell the son to just be still? Because I got to do the Lord's work. So son, you got to just stop where you are till I get to you done. He talked to God. He was that confident in what God had told him that he spoke to the son and said, be still. He didn't stop there. He said, moon in the valley of Ajalon. So he told the sun to be still and the moon to be still. So, verse 13. So Joshua freaked out because he had said something stupid. No, that's not what it says. It says, so the sun stood still. Because the Son is subject to the Word of God, just like everything else.
Wow.
That's why he spoke to the Son. He didn't need to, because God already told him what the deal was. So now he's issuing command. He's issuing, he's talking about sonship. He's exercised dominion over everything that's in opposition to what God has spoken to him. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the people had revenge upon their enemies. Is it not written in the book of Joshua? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. Now imagine, he stopped the sun for a whole day. And there has been no day like that before or after, that the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all of Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. He went and did his business. So what he did. So Joshua was so, just imagine us as believers. We're so convinced, so reassured in what God has told us, that we command circumstances that don't line up with what God told us to the degree that, because said Joshua, he didn't go like hide and, like get in his prayer closet, his place for the prayer closet. But he said in the face of all of Israel, in front of everybody. So Joshua was really opening himself up to, if it didn't happen, everybody would know that Joshua had said something didn't come true. So he was so bold and so confident in what God had told him that he really, in a way, that was issuing a prayer, because he's praying to God to do this, but he's commanding on behalf of God. See, once we pray to God and we get aligned and we know his will from that two-way communication, then we act upon what God is saying. Without hesitation, without fear, without deviation. He was so bold in his prayer and his relationship with God that he commanded, the sun, the stars, and the moon to align themselves with what God had told them to do. Now that just, sort of took me out there, because that is very powerful. That shows how Joshua, how much confidence he had. But I want to look even further here. Let's turn over to Isaiah and give you time to get there. Isaiah 38. So Joshua, because God is always, I don't know if it's in Jeremiah, somebody help me if I'm incorrect, but don't hold me to that. But it says that God goes to and forth looking for his word that he may come for words to effect. He's looking for people that speak in his word that he may perform. He wants us to speak his word back to him, because that releases him to let him, it opens the door for him into our life to perform his word in our life. And that's his desire. So he's going to and forth, he's looking for us. See, don't ever think that, I'm unworthy, I'm bothering God when I go to him with my petition. No. God, like, wait a minute, no, that's what I'm looking for. That's our relationship, that's what I exist, that's what I desire. So he wants to hear us pray, wants to hear us communicate his word back to him.
Yes.
Now, in Isaiah chapter 38, we're going to talk about King Hezekiah here. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 8 in Hezekiah. It says, in those days, Hezekiah was sick and near death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, went to him and said, thus said the Lord, set your house in order, for you shall die and not live. So that's a bad way to open a verse. The prophet of God comes and tells you that's it. You need to put everything in order, because you're going to die. You're not going to live. But I love verse 2 and how Hezekiah responds. He said, then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed to the Lord. Hezekiah didn't freak out. He said, okay, I know you're from God. I know what God has said. But you're the prophet of God. You brought me one message. Now I'm going to talk to God myself. Now God might have a contingency plan. This is where it stands right now for God. But I'm going before him myself and petition and plead my case.
Yes, sir.
Because people will prophesy. A true prophet will prophesy what God says. But we have God's ear too. And you never know if that prophet is to motivate us to come to God ourselves. But sometimes we hear things, people freak out, and next thing you know, we run around chicken our heads off, doing all kind of crazy stuff because some prophet always said something. No, we don't consult God for ourselves to see if this is the case.
There you go.
He wasn't doubting Isaiah, but think about who did it. Okay, God, I'm just going to die. Isaiah, Hezekiah didn't do that. Because look what he said in verse 3. The verse 2 said, then he turned his face toward the wall and prayed to the Lord and said, this is what Hezekiah is telling God. Remember now, Lord, I pray now how I have walked before you in truth and with a loyal heart and have done what is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. He didn't ask God, God, let me live a little longer. He said, God, just remember me. Remember the relationship. Hold me to account. Look at my record. Not out of boasting, but God, evaluate this. Look at what I have done. I know in the natural that I'm due to die, but I just want to remind you of who I am in you.
There you go.
He didn't say what I have done. These are the things I've done that are lying to you.
Hallelujah.
Just remind God, sometimes, oh, God, well, I didn't look at that. That was on the back page. Let me go, all right. And the word of the Lord came to Isaiah. Now, Isaiah gave Hezekiah the message from God. Hezekiah talked to God. But the word from God came back to Isaiah. See, the prophet is always the prophet.
Okay.
And if God wants to change his mind, he can do that.
Amen.
And the word of the Lord came to Isaiah and said, go tell Hezekiah, thus says the Lord, the God of David, your father. I have heard your prayer. I have seen your tears. Surely I will add to your days 15 years.
Wow.
Now, I understand that's still true. I'm not splitting hairs here. This guy's still going to die. He's not going to die soon. Because he says, this world, well, your death is coming soon. He reminded God, said, okay, all right. The word of the Lord came like, oh, wait a minute, that's Hezekiah. Hezekiah, yeah, he does have a good word. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to have compassion. I'm going to extend my grace to Hezekiah and give him 15 more years. Because first he acknowledged that. And in the way he's asking for it, he's reminding me of our relationship. So because of what he's done, he gets 15 more years, but it still came through the word, because God is not, again, going to lie. He said, I'm just going to add to it. I'm going to just push this out. And see, that's always happened sometimes when we see all the sacrifices. Because for sin, that debt wasn't ever eliminated. Christ came and died. All we were doing was getting, I call it continuance. When you go to court, they're not going to adjudicate it, pronounce judgment now, but we're just going to put this off to in the future. So he got 15 more years. And not only did he get 15 more years, you look at 6, because we're going to read to 8 after years. He says, I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Syria, and I will defend this city. And this is the sign to you from the Lord. Now this is God speaking through Isaiah to Hezekiah. And this is the sign to you from the Lord, that the Lord will do this thing which he has spoken. Behold, I will bring the shadow on the sundial, which has gone down with the sun, on the sundial of Ahaz, 10 degrees backward. So the sun returned 10 degrees on the dial by which it had gone down. So I understand he used sundial there. They didn't have the mechanical watches yet. Now let's imagine you did have a mechanical watch. And I actually did a little research on looking at that 10 degrees. It would be like if Isaiah had a watch or a clock. Let's just use a clock, a big clock over there. What God actually did by moving that sundial back 10 degrees, he reversed time by 20 minutes, just as a sign. So you look at the clock and it just miraculously goes back. Imagine that clock back going back to 5 minutes to 12. God moved time back. So this is just a sign. So if I didn't move time backwards, they give you 15 more years of nothing. Because God always wants to confirm himself to us. He's not obliged to do a sign, but God wants us to reassure him so much that I'll show you something. I show you that I'm not just talking smack. This prophet is not just here selling wolf tickets, as I like to say. He's not just here just blabbering out stuff to sound good. I'm going to move, I'm going to give you evidence, irrefutable evidence. Can you go somewhere, can anybody trick you? Like a 90 wind clock back before itself. They didn't have that sundial. You can't make the dial go the other way. You can't rig it up so it goes in backwards. That's why that was an irrefutable evidence. See, what God does is when we pray to Him, He wants us to have that confidence that I will do what I say. Absolutely. So all you have to do is act upon it. Come on. He wasn't trying to show out because I can move the song back and forth. Like, He created the song. That's no big deal. God, I can make it disappear. I can do whatever I want. See, we see us God short sometimes. But He made the sundial move back. Not because He was God wanted to show off His power. He wanted to reassure Hezekiah that what he said was true. So now you can continue to walk out. See, that's what prayer does. It gives us the strength to go and be and do what God said for us to be and to do what He said to do. That's the whole the gist. You know, I could sit down now. But that's the power of it. But see, by the thing is, by us doing that and exercising that power, it gives that power to us to know the position we're in. Because a lot of times we don't know the position we're in. We don't know what we are entitled to. We're not aware of what we are privy to.
Ooh, glory, my good Lord mercy.
I'm saying we in general. I'm not talking necessarily KCM because to brag on us. I think we get it a lot more here than a lot of other places. Just being a pastor and overseeing certain things and things where the elders. I've seen other churches and know at other times have to deal with it. We don't have to deal with like the immaturity and people just living crazy and think the church is supposed to bail them out, or every church service they got this drama because right now they just stomp their toe and want to put on a pit production and run up to the altar and want everybody, the prayer warrior, the elder. That's madness. That's ridiculous. It doesn't take all of that. Because see, Hezekiah didn't even freak out. All he did was just lay down, he wept, he was sad, he wasn't ready to die off, and he talked to God and just reminded God of what he was. And that was it. He had peace with it. Joshua got to a point, he had so much confidence, he started issuing commands to heavenly bodies. You just be still, son. I just use mountain back. You stop, you at ease. You mark time where you are. Moon, you mark time too. But I need some light to finish killing me. You can move after I finish what I started doing for God. See, we get that mindset on things like that, you know, hopefully just coming across in the right way, like, that we can really function. It's nothing where God doesn't, being born again into the kingdom of God doesn't create no milly, weak people that can't go out and function and do things and have an impact on the world.
There you go.
You don't have to stop begging for stuff.
Yes.
Walk around with signs asking politicians to do stuff, to act on behalf of God by passing some stupid laws that nobody cares anything about anyway. Like we can stop people from doing evil with a law, putting somebody on the Supreme Court. That is wasted prayer. That is
Hallelujah. Amen. Amen.
We pray for stuff that don't make sense.
Yes.
Oh, I pray that He put brother XYZ or sister so in this position in the White House. No, don't even fall for it. If I ever, as a pastor, get up and tell y'all to pray for anybody that runs any public office, I'm not condemning those people. Y'all need to stop and rebuke me. Because now what we're trying to do is depend on men to do what God does.
All right.
Now we can pray for them to have wisdom who are there and to act in the cause of God, but that's going to be up to them and God. But praying that this is God's desire to have these certain people in that's ridiculous. God allows certain things. He allows good and He allows bad. He allows people to get positions just because He's God. And just look back, you don't believe, look, God said, I hardened Pharaoh's heart to keep the children of Israel in bondage till He got to the point that I could break him like a toothpick. Yeah. So there will be no doubt in the rest of the world who freed my people from Israel. Pharaoh didn't let them go. God stamped him. He didn't have hold of them anymore. He showed Pharaoh who he was.
Again. There we go.
So he'd rather not stamp people like a toothpick, but he'll do that. See, we pray the right things and things happen. Just think about it. You walk out there, just tell the son, just be still. I get excited about certain things up here. So we need to know that there's powers in our prayers. Okay, I'm going to move on. I won't take too much time. I got a lot of stuff to do. Let's look at another instance of the power of prayer. Let's look at Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis. I want to look at Abraham here. Because I found this exchange very fascinating. Genesis chapter 18. Genesis 18. We may not know in certain situations. Abraham set an example, we can negotiate with God. I would just caution you to know exactly what you're talking about before you do that. Not that you go strike it down.
That's true
And
word.
be prepared for the answer. But here we see that Abraham negotiated with God. In Genesis chapter 18, starting with verse 23. Genesis 18:23. I need to be more articulate. Sometimes people write it down and I keep forgetting I'm getting recorded. They might, what did he say? I don't know. I was just talking. Genesis 23. And long story short, this is after the three angels of the Lord had appeared to Abraham, making him aware of his attention towards Sodom and Gomorrah. And understand Abraham had Lot, his wife, and Lot's children were inside Sodom and Gomorrah. So Abraham did have a reason, he had a blood relative that lived there. So starting verse 23, it reads, And Abram came near and said, Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? And this is God responding. Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked. So the righteous should be as the wicked as far as it is from you. Judge not, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? This is Abraham challenging God. He's like Nelson said, you're going to destroy the city. What about, you're going to destroy the whole city? Well, there's 50 righteous people there. Are you going to destroy them just like you did the wicked people? Anyway, is your plan for the righteous the same as for the wicked? Said, are you not the judge of the earth? Won't you do what's right? See, Abraham is really putting God in a situation and making God aware of he knows who God is. You're going to do what's right. So from my perspective, this situation, killing 50 righteous along with the evil, the unrighteous, wouldn't be fair. You don't want to kill them. So the Lord said in verse 26, so the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. See, if there's 50 righteous folks in there, God said, I'm not going to destroy them. It's going to be safe. Now, Abraham probably get an inclination there, like, okay, I won that round. Try this again. Verse 27, then Abraham answered and said, indeed now I am but dust and ashes. See, Abraham like said, look, I ain't nobody. I'm not even worthy to be talking to you. I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. So he's showing humility. Suppose there were 5 less than 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for lack of 5? So he said, if I find 45, I will not destroy it. And I said, Abraham, not drop it, just standing down 45 people. God said, okay, 40, you find, if that's 45, I won't destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, suppose there should be 40 found there. So he, being God, said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry. He's like, okay, God, I know I'm working your nerve here, but I'm still trying to save my nephew and his family. He said, don't get angry with me. I will speak. Suppose 30 be found there. So he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Talking about 30 righteous. And Abram goes again in verse 31. Then he said, indeed, now I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 should be found there. You see that? And God is listening to him because Abram is not coming before God like he deserved this. And that's what he said, look, I am nobody. I'm just petitioning. I'm humbling myself before you, God, because my heart's desire is for the city and the people to be saved. But he didn't go about it the arrogant way like the man and they be saved. Like, okay, I'm humbling myself and I know, God, I'm unworthy, but let's just suppose there were 20. So he said, I would not destroy it for the sake of 20. See, God is coming on down with it. Go ahead, okay, come up with another number. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry. You see how Abram keep that attitude of he's in his place and acknowledging who God is? So God's still listening to him. He do the same for us. We get in the right position, he listen to whatever we say. He entertains my foolishness all the time. He said, okay, that's interesting, but no. I will speak once more. Suppose 10 be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. Wow. He done talked God down from 50 to 10. So the Lord went away. So the Lord went his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham. And Abraham returned to his place. So when he got to 10, he was satisfied. I think we all know the results. There was not 10. So eventually he had to get his folks out. They were on. But God, when we get in the right position and situations come to us where we know to God, and God doesn't have a problem with us assuming the right position and not arguing with him, but negotiating with him. Like, okay, I want you to go and do X, Y, Z. Okay, God, okay, I will do that. But what about, could I go over here? Or do I have to stay the whole day? Or do I have to do this? And God will let you know. He'll listen to it. But you do have to understand, him being God, he already knew the deal. He knew there weren't 10 righteous folks in there. He wasn't tricking Abram, but he acknowledged the fact, because Abram had a relationship with him, he acknowledged the fact that I will listen to you, consider what you say. I will keep this relationship with you to the point that you know that you can come to me with your concern about what I'm doing, because I made you aware of what I'm doing before I did it. Now, because you're close to me, I will listen to what you think about what I'm going to do. And a matter of fact, if you come up with a valid justification, I will change what I want to do for your sake. So the point is not whether Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed or how many righteous people there were. There was the fact that Abram had a prayer life and a relationship with God so much that he listened to him to the point he would allow him to negotiate situations with him. I understand, even though the negotiation when he went down to 10, God's will will always be done. Because he like Sodom and Gomorrah, and actually, I don't want to go too far. Joshua, Lot and his folks, they got out on grace. So his wife only made it so far back because he said, don't look back now. You coming out, you don't realize what it's gone through to get you to this place. You can't look back and desire to go back to all that evil, but she didn't make it. So we see what God negotiates with his people. Now I want to turn to the New Testament. We're going to Matthew. We got two more and then we will close. Matthew 26. Because it wouldn't be complete with seeing the most submitted person that ever walked the face of the earth see his prayer. We have Matthew chapter 26, verse 38. Matthew 26, verse 38 through 46. We're going to see how Jesus prayed during what had to be, the most excruciating drama he was going through before he was nailed to the cross. Verse 38 reads, Then he said, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. So he, being Jesus, went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, Oh, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping and said to Peter, What, could you not watch with me an hour? Watch and pray lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Again, a second time he went away praying, saying, Oh, my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done. See, Jesus is saying to, okay, I would like for this to pass if it can, but nevertheless, let your will be done. He said, okay, if this cup of bitterness, he's like, if all of this affliction, all this, if I have to take on sin, all the sin of the world upon me and suffer for all of that, if I must drink this cup, I will, but if possible, if it could pass now, that would be okay. But either way, God, you do what you will. And see, when we pray that, we make God aware of what we desire, but then we have to acknowledge the fact that God is still in charge. So whatever God do, I am going to be content with what you do, God. I may not like what you do, but I'm going to be content with what you do because it's included in my prayer. So that way I leave, I'm not frustrated. Oh, God, work me out. No, God, I want your will to be done. Yeah. Because as long as I'm in the will of God, irregardless of circumstances, we're in the will of God, irregardless of circumstances, we're fine. Well, I'm here to look at the end result, what Christ went through, and then we just look at sometimes we want to focus too much on the suffering and the pain and not look at the outcome. See, we don't look at the glory of the resurrection. And that could be one thing, Lord. We passed last week's season. A lot of times that it can be overemphasized where we think, oh, I'm sorry, Christ went through all of this. Well, okay, he did. But he rose again and he purchased a place for us to live. Why don't we focus on this better life that he bought? Oh, my God. Instead of keep replaying, oh, look at that, they executed Jesus again. But Jesus didn't have a problem with that. I think he prayed for God to do. God, you do what you want to do. So if he got, why we got a problem with something Jesus didn't have a problem with? He didn't want to do it, now don't get me wrong. But he said, God's will, because right now he's saying, whatever you do, God's going to be okay with you. And he came forth and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy, 43. So he left them and went again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. When he came to his disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed to the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. See, my betrayer is at hand. So right after he prayed this third time, he knew his rest came. So okay, now it begins. But see, we have to keep it in focus. That way we don't get deceived into getting the wrong attitude or the wrong perspective of cosmic events. Because the crucifixion of Christ was one thing, and it brought a lot. But the glory is in his resurrection. I mean, we don't, I'm probably over-explaining myself. It just doesn't really bother me, but sometimes I believe we need to know where the emphasis is and what we really to be putting our energy into. Because had he not gotten up, everything would have fruitless. We still be running around sacrificing bulls and sheep and whatnot. So that was Jesus' prayer submission. One last prayer, Luke. Luke chapter 23. Luke 23, only one verse. Luke 23:34. Because we have to see what Jesus prayed when he was actually, could coincide with the other prayer, when this events are coming into fruition and he's physically under as much duress or suffering as I think a human being could probably be. So now we have to see what was Jesus' reaction to that. What did he say about all the folks that were doing him so wrong, that they inflicted all this pain upon him? Luke 23, I said 34. 34. Well, I start with 33. And when they had come to the place called Calvary, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right and the other on the left. Then, this crucified, nailed to the cross, Jesus says, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And they divided his garments and cast lot. Now Jesus wasn't just up there being nice, trying to be cool, to give us some nice catchphrase for eternity. Because when you look at forgiveness, what Jesus was asking God to do is basically, if you do research on that and look it up, he was saying, God, according to them, do not hold this against them. God, I want you to relate to them as if they didn't do this. Now, why is that powerful for us? When we pray for forgiveness, we need to pray and understand we are praying for the ability to forget that an event, consider that it didn't happen. Because if I still keep rehashing, I haven't totally forgiven. So Jesus, in the midst of all this suffering, said, forgive them because they don't know what to do. He asked God to do something, he told God why he wants to do it. And that is, a lot of times, one of the biggest challenges we can have as believers is forgiveness in general. Forgiveness for each other. Forgiveness in people we're in a close relationship with because we don't like for things to get out of harm. We don't like people to hurt us, and that's normal. But we have to also understand that in the midst, Jesus gave us an example that to live our life to the fullness, to keep our slate clean, to keep ourselves in a strong relationship with God, to adhere to his principles, we have to be able to forgive and let offenses, they will happen, they will occur, they will have an impact on us. But as far as relating to that person, we have to still relate to that person as if that offense never happened. Now, I'm not saying that's easy. I'm not saying I know the 3 or 4 steps you go through. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is what we have to strive to do. And just in general, I would say that's just take consistent work and humbling ourselves before God and knowing that God, you have to deal with this because this is still painful. To get to the point where it doesn't affect me anymore, I can treat this person as if that event did not happen. Amen. Particularly if you're in close relationships, like married, or you got somebody that's a really good friend you have to interact with all the time. Because without forgiveness, you won't have harmony, you won't have peace, you won't get to enjoy the fruit of the kingdom. There you go. So we must forgive. That means we have to discipline ourselves to know that forgiveness is part of the deal. It is part of God's will. Because he didn't save us to just be perfect and go around in God's will. Okay, things are going to happen. I want you to interact and things are going to happen to offend you, but stay in the right relationship. You have to master the power of forgiveness, which means I have to discipline myself. We have to discipline ourselves to relate to one another as if an offense that occurred and it will occur never happened. Because truly when we operate on love, it is not anybody's true believer's intent to ever offend anybody.
There you go.
We don't just constantly go out and do it. If not, that's not a believer.
There you go.
But being human beings, there are certain things we're going to do because I don't know everybody. I don't know. I mean, for all I know, wearing vets might offend somebody. I don't know. It could be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to work and constantly in the attitude of forgiveness to keep our relationship in harmony with each other.
Amen.
Because if our relationship not in harmony with each other, then that means my relationship with God is out of kilter. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with my wife. That means there's something wrong with me and God. Because he gives me the power to forgive.
There you go. That's word.
Really that easy. So there is power in prayer. So anytime we need power, anytime we need to accomplish something that extraordinary, just go to God with it. He will, in a sense, he'll stop the earth and moon if he needs to, literally or figuratively, for us to accomplish his will.
Amen.
So don't be shy if you will. Please stand to your feet. Ask the elder Green to come up and dismiss us.